Hagios o Theos, Hagios Ischiros, Hagios Athanatos eleison imas, was heard, it would seem, in the desert of old by the ancient monks, and passed into the liturgy and stayed there ever since. It was therefore of angelic origin, and perhaps what was being sung on high by that invisible chorus of hidden friends, the angels. It was heard also by Isaiah the prophet. He heard it in this form: Holy, holy, holy. Now we can omit or put in the is. Now, how do we translate the Lord of Sabaoth? Shavach is a host, a horde, a gathering, in this case of a military nature. What we have to do with the army of defense of heaven, the invisible court of the High King. And so this was what we had to do with already in the Old Testament, when the fullness was not yet at all what we have now. And it is already there also in the Mosaic period. What are these cherubim? Strange figures suggesting something of the protection of majesty, wings. We notice that there is an explicit reference to the burning ones here in Isaiah. Seraph is to burn, the seraphim are the burning ones, and they're on fire. Fire. Something of that is indicated also in our liturgy, which we have in common with the East and indeed with the pre-Christian Hebrew cult. Holy smoke, incense. When in the old rite the priest blesses the incense before the incensation of the holy gifts, there is a longer formula, and it makes appeal to the angel that stood at the right hand of the order of incense. It would seem it's a reference to what happened when Zechariah was alone with his guard in that holy place, and the people were waiting, rather as in the Eastern rite they are outside, or the priest goes into intimacy behind the holy doors, which at a high point, that is Holy Communion, are closed, and he receives with God alone and the angels the bread of angels. How different from our McDonald's style in the West, when anyone can do anything as long as it's over as quickly as possible. This is secondary compared with the church notices. And so we have this education. Now, it is not surprising that that should come to a fullness in Christian worship. With regard to Isaiah in this call, we notice that it is a call of what? Specifically to the Word. And he protests that he's a man of unclean lips in the midst of a people of unclean lips. And we have here something picked up also by the Christian centuries, for in the complete version of the prayer, the priest pronounces in secret while bowing profoundly before the altar, before daring to proclaim the gospel itself. We have an appeal also to this. The essence of the prayer is still there in the simplified rite of 1969, but as in most prayers it has been streamlined, and therefore what made it longer has been left out. And what made it longer was the reference explicitly to the purifying of the lips by what the angel took. It was a burning coal from the altar. A very powerful poetic prayer quite mystic in nature. And it is a reminder to the priest before he preaches that his lips must be pure and that he also must be on fire. For the word, like the grace of God, has energy to change, to alter time, patterns of life, and therefore of eternity. In the West, we have actually still one bit of the ancient Hagios Soteos, Hagios Ischyros, that one which was heard by the Desert Fathers, and which is a refrain in the Eastern liturgy throughout it. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us, in what the Lord inspired here on earth through St. Faustina. Where? Well, in a country which is precisely a bridge area between East and West, Poland. And there the Lord took it, the vestige, however, never having completely disappeared, for it was still at one point in the liturgical year in our liturgy, even in the West, and actually it was kept in Greek and still is. It's during the veneration of the cross on Good Friday. It's sung first in Greek and then in Latin when done with all the possibilities of the Missal. And it's powerful. The liturgy, especially with the ancient melodies, has a power of its own and is very moving. When one adds that, the monastic way of doing it, with great reverence, maybe even barefooted, and with the fullness of bodily gestuality, it's something else, which collocates us precisely in the undivided church of old, what we have in common with the East. So that is still there, even in Greek there, as of course is the Kyrie eleison in the liturgy to this day. But then the Lord, it would seem, wanted that little hint through St. Faustina in the 1930s, and it's come back to the West big time with the Divine Mercy Chaplet. The end of it is that prayer 3 times, adding, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Mercy. The bridge between heaven and earth is mercy. The point of contact between the creature and the Creator is mercy. As in the Jesus prayer, which the monks of the East repeat constantly when they're working, there is this point of God and then this point of man. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, focusing the attention on the majesty, and then me, a sinner. Nothing at all before that majesty. But the bridge is eleison, mercy. Have mercy. And Archbishop Anthony Bloom, Eastern Orthodox Ecumenical Patriarch, has a meditation on it, linking it with the echo that has with Elion, which is olive, and as though we needed that mercy from the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan. In Welsh it's the Samariad Tregarog, the merciful Samaritan, pouring oil and wine. We need mercy. Grace and mercy have met. Then we have what happens through the encounter. It is from an encounter that the commissioning happens and the going forth takes place. Otherwise, what's happening? We have nothing to say. All we can do is regurgitate and recycle our knowledge, but it's not a transmission of encounter. What comes from behind the holy doors is God, and the people want to see God, not man. They also want to meet God in liturgy, and not man. And therefore we need to create on earth what the angels are doing quietly in heaven, and what they're doing actually even in a chapel like this in the hours of night. They are there, quietly proclaiming, Holy, Holy, Holy. And if the leitmotif of our liturgy is how great I am, and please give me a clap, then we're deflecting massively the message and the blessings and the graces that the angels wanted to bring us through the desert fathers, who knew what they were, not great sheikhs, but needing mercy. Agios, 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 Ischiros, Agios, Atanatos, Eleison imas. Agios, 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 Ischiros, Agios, Atanatos, Eleison imas.